get to mess around with sled dogs all summer long, you know. So this is what I do. You going to college?
Yeah.
Where are you going?
Receiver.
All right, good for you. A bright young lad. Oh, very good. Actually, Kristen over there just graduated from UC Davis with a pre-vet degree. She'll be going to veterinarian school here. Um, I've got 2 college degrees. I'm a carpenter. I run sled dogs. That's what I do. 'Cause I love
You do races.
I do, actually. So does Tom. Now, unfortunately, I haven't run the Iditarod yet. We're both actually working up to it. You have to qualify to run the Iditarod. You have to run a 200-mile race and 2 300-mile races. Last winter was my winter to qualify to run my races. I was all signed up, paid my entry fees, had all my supplies in place, and it did not snow up here until February. Yeah, it was maybe the driest as far as snowfall goes, winter on record. I got you. What I do is I actually take young dogs, 2-year-old dogs, and I'll put them through their first race season. I will teach them that routine of running 4 to 6 hours and resting for 4 to 6 hours. You actually have to train the dogs to do that, right? That's kind of what I do with these guys. So, I've got my first sled dog in 1983. And she was a big, heavy dog, like Chinook, not quite her size, but she was a working dog. She was actually a trapline dog, so a guy trapped fur-bearing animals, right? And that's right where my dogs came from. So I have now since gone from Malamutes to racing dogs. So I've been coming up here to Alaska since the mid-90s, and I've been up here for about 2.5 years now. Believe it or not, I'm a happily married man. My wife lives back in the Adirondack Mountains of New York State. She's a college professor. She's actually a bright lass. But she knows how important the dogs are to me. She actually lets me come up here to work with the dogs. She'll come up twice a year. I'll go back once a year after race season. So that's kind of how we're working it out. But I have gone to the dogs, so to speak. I'm completely captivated with them. You know why dogs are cool? Here's why dogs are cool. Do you have a dog at home?
Yeah.
What kind of dog?
It's a retriever.
Retriever. Have you ever had someone come over to the house who's nervous around dogs?
I know a person.
And does the dog get nervous around that person?
Actually, the dog doesn't know much.
Well, that's a retriever.
Yeah.
Okay? These are race dogs. These dogs, if you're nervous around them, the dogs get nervous. If I'm nervous or anxious, the dogs will reflect that, okay? Say I'm running down a really scary section of trail.
Yeah.
It's really steep, icy. My heart's going doo, 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 doo. My adrenaline is pumping. The worst thing that I can do in that situation is start screaming at my dogs. Whoa, dog, whoa, 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 easy, easy. Because they'll get excited and they'll pull harder. The best thing for me to do is to say, easy dogs, good dogs. Make them think that it's a walk in the park, right? Let them know that I've got things under control, even though I might be scared to death. I never let my dogs know that, and my dogs will do amazing things for me. They're kind of a mirror of my own psychology at any given point in time, right? That's why I find these guys so fascinating.
Kids are
It's
also
like
like that.
yeah. Oh, absolutely. I have a 25-year-old. So, my man.
When they're young, if you look happy, they look happy.
Absolutely.
If you look scared, they look scared.
Yeah, and children, much like dogs, benefit from consistency and routine, right? The worst thing you can do with a kid is move him every 4 months. Put him in a new school every year. Don't feed him. You know what I mean? You're going to end up with a troubled child, right? Same with a dog. However, if you're consistent with the dog, if the dog knows what to expect from you, they will do amazing things for you. So, and that's kind of how we train these guys. Now, I want to get us on a sled. Okay, we're going to go for a ride. On the way over to the sled, so I'm going to take us over to the sled right over here, okay? On the way over to the sled, actually you can check out our little village right here, okay? Now, this is the home of anywhere from 2 to 6 people at a time. Couple guides, couple dog handlers. Actually, Kristen's first time ever working with sled dogs. She's a bright girl. She's actually, you know, inseminated cattle and done all sorts of bizarre things that I've never done, right? Pre-vet student. First time working with them. There are handlers. They take care of a lot of the feeding and scooping, cleaning up the yard. We're meticulous up here. All the dog poop gets picked up, obviously. You don't let it sit on the surface and filthy up here, right? Those guys are actually their first year working with sled dogs. There are handlers. There's generally anywhere from 2 to 4 of those guys up here, and generally 2 or 3 of us mushers, us guides up here. And actually this is our home. I do want to point out that our rather elegant bathroom facilities are right over here if you need them, okay? It also doubles as our weather station. So we have a wind speed indicator, a barometer, a thermometer on there. But we actually have a little computer printout in there. The pilots always like to know what's going on up here weather-wise for very obvious reasons, right?
How do you get power?
Well, that's actually battery operated. Now, we do have a 3,000 watt generator up here. Everything you see up here has been flown up here. I'm the crew carpenter. I've actually put all of these little platforms and things together. So I have a generator to run my power tools off of. Of course, we have a radio that can communicate with the helicopter, the Alpine Air, with ourselves up here. So the generator takes care of those power needs.
And diesel?
No diesel. It's a gas.
And you fly that gas in?
We do. And there you go. We do it in those 15-gallon fuel cells, and we have 3 or 4 of them. So you can see those are actually getting ready to go down. And when they're filled, now they won't fly those inside of the helicopter. That's like an accident waiting to happen, right? But everything you see up here has actually been suspended from the bottom of the helicopter. We call it sling loading. So they put it in a big net, they tie a rope to the bottom of the helicopter.
I want to take one of these home.
Everybody does. Everybody does.
And they want some
So I'll take a picture of one of you guys, Venkat. I'll take a picture of all 3 of you with the dog. Do you want to stand there?
Turn around, look there.
Come here,
Yeah.
Chinook. Come here. Come here. There's my girl. That's it. There we go.
Yeah.
Here, sneak right in here. She will not. Chinook, hey, I'm over here. There's my girl. She's trying to keep an eye on me.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay. A great one. Oh.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
She just dug that hole. We're all slipping. Did you get that picture?
Yes. No, not the one.
She's being difficult.
She was
No.
good. Yeah. No, she was good. Yeah. No, it came out real nice.
So anyways, this is our village. Who's the mayor? That's actually a funny question because I call him the mayor and he hates it. So the mayor's name is Mike Barnett. He's actually on his day off. I've just finished a 6-day stretch. I'll go down tomorrow morning. He'll come up tomorrow morning. So here's our kitchen. Pretty humble, but super effective. We have a double burner propane stove, that's our workhorse. We have a grill. When the salmon start running, we'll actually bring a bunch of coho salmon up here and grill them up. We fly our water up. We melt the water for the dogs up here. And then I built these really elegant shelves for all of our food.
Very nice.
This also doubles as our office and our charging station. You can see our power strip. Those are all individual chargers for various radio batteries, iPhones, iPods, you know.
Are those like Tibetan flags?
They sure are Tibetan prayer flags, yeah. We, anything that can bring us good energy we'll actually subscribe to, so. The mayor's name is Mike Barnett. Because he is mayor, Mike Barnett actually gets to sleep by himself. Now, we've actually come to the conclusion that it's not an elected position. He's rather autocratic, and I started calling him dictator. But he told me I have to go back to calling him mayor. But anyway, this is the mayor's quarters right here. I call this town hall, actually. And you can see we actually stay pretty comfortable up here. We have mattresses, right? We have linen. In our spare time, we actually do a lot of climbing. We go down and play on the ice falls down there, so you can see we've got some To stay dry up here, we have these little portable propane heaters. And something like that will actually heat this tank so hot that it'll become unbearable. Yeah, these are pretty cool. It's a rubberized nylon. And these are actually designed for use on the north slope of Alaska in the oil fields. They're actually designed to be temporary tanks for oil workers. These things will withstand heat. Yeah, they're pretty impressive. So
What did you?
you can see we've actually got
Is the camera
plastic
okay or
in
is
there,
it
right?
block my hair?
That's a vapor barrier. So condensation will build up between those two layers as opposed to building up on the inside and dripping on it. So we've kind of got this down to a little system here.
Wow.
Next thing in your thing should be, you should rent this out for a weekend or something, like have people come and stay here.
Well, where would I go then?
You build a few more.
Yeah.
Not as in your cabin.
They actually did that last year. They set up, and it was a group that actually paid to do it. You can't see it right now, but there's a mountain right here with what we call a bench. So there's a slope and it flattens out up on top. We actually set up a whole nother village for them for one night. It was a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's been tried. I think it's so much work to do that.
I'm sure I won't last more than a night or two.
We would keep you company. We just eat a lot, right? This is our beer tent. Actually, I should say workshop. I say beer tent at once. I say beer tent. I get really excited. No beer. But you can see our generator, right? We're just charging some batteries before. We've got a vet kit up here. So between Tom, Mike, and myself, we've got 70 years of experience with dogs. We can do just about anything we need to to a dog, except say incubate him and operate on Tom. You know, and I'm going to knock on wood because I'm superstitious, but we haven't run into that issue. Now I'm sure to find folks at Alpine Air, if we needed to get a dog down fast, we'd send a helicopter up. So actually we're two different companies where Iditarod sled dog tours and Alpine Air. We work in conjunction with each other. It's a very symbiotic relationship, actually. This is gentlemen's quarters here. Now 4 of us actually live out of there. Yeah, there's no deputy mayor, no sheriff. It's very egalitarian. I'm not going to open that up because if my wife sees the picture on the book face, I'm in big trouble, right? So. This is the guest tent right here. If it starts to pour rain, we actually head inside, okay? Except for the sled ride portion. We have a carafe of hot water. We've actually got instant coffee. We've got some hot chocolate, bottled water.
Wow.
Snacks, cookies, Rice Krispie treats. They actually go well with those couple pieces of bread. If you care for anything, please help yourselves.
Thank you.
If you need a hand, just ask us. Yeah, try to keep you guys comfortable.
So what kind of weather can you withstand here?
Let's
Will
see.
you ever have to evacuate from it?
No, we would actually hunker down here. So now if it was bad enough to evacuate us, the helicopters wouldn't fly. Right? It's too bad. Yeah. So luckily we're all.
So would it snow here at this time?
Yeah. Now I was actually expecting a little bit of snow this morning. It was just on the warm side, so it didn't. Last year on May 30th, we picked up less than 24 hours. So
And the dogs can manage that?
we're sled dogs.
So what happens? What happens to the snow level? Do they get covered up or?
They do, and we actually dig them out. We dig out everything. So now when we first got up here, the snow was waist deep. You know, it's fresh. There was no snowfall. The sun and us moving around has really compacted it. But for the first 2.5 weeks we were up here, we actually had to use snowshoes to get around. You know, otherwise we were just punching it. We actually there was a few times had to get a guest that was not so mobile. We would bring the snow machine up to the helicopter to get them to walk. Now we're actually in the more stable part of the summer, June and July. once August hits, the weather will start going back again to, we have 2 seasons, winter and waiting for winter up here. Let's head this way.
Can you take a picture of us?
I would love to. Yeah, anytime, please.
Yeah.
You don't have to ask, just
In front of the
The igloo?
camp. Yeah.
You want me to roll the door up so I can get the inside?
Sure. Yeah.
Here, hold your camera for just a moment. So how's the weather in San Jose these days? No, you're right on the coast, so it's generally like 85 or something like that. A little bit of breeze keeping you cool. So what is San Jose? Say an hour and a half south of San Francisco, something like that?
About an hour.
Okay. I actually lived in San Francisco for a very short while. Back when I was a young lad. I lived right in the city, which was interesting because I'm really not much of a city person. You said you like it up here better? Oh, I like it up here. I love it up here. Yeah, no, this is Alaska is part of my, part of who I am.
What does your son do?
He's a professional chef. Took him a little while to find his way in the world, but he's always loved to cook and always loved to eat. So he said, hey.
Nothing like enjoying what you do.
Exactly. Yeah, it's what makes life worth living. So
Wow.
he's working at a great resort up in the. So I'm originally from the Adirondack Mountains of New York State. Montreal is the closest city to me, about an hour and 15 minutes away. I know more French speakers than English speakers. All right, so as you take a picture, I'm going to make you guys smile and say Alaskan Husky.
Alaskan Huskies.
There's the money shot right there. All right.
Thank you.
You do very well.
Thank you.
This is so nice. This is the best part of our trip.
Well, it's got a couple degrees.
One more picture here. And
With the dogs?
Yeah, the dogs.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I do want to ask us one thing, that as we go about the tour, we just don't walk in amongst the dog houses. You're going to see that these guys are very, very excitable.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't have a mean dog in the batch. Mean dogs don't make good working dogs, right? These guys are around people their whole lives. However, we had a piece of fur blow across the back of the kennel about 4 days ago. They thought it was a little bunny rabbit or something, or a cat, and the whole kennel
Oh my
erupted,
gosh.
went berserk. You'll see how excited these guys get. So,
As dog owners, we know not to tease them.
this is pretty cool how it puts a little green box around each one of your faces, right? It's amazing. How does it know what I'm looking at? I'm actually going to get this way and get a few more houses in there. See, I only make you say Alaskan Husky once.
Thank you.
So what is that? A playpen?
Kind of. We'll get to that actually. We have puppies up here. We have 2 5-week-old pups. Actually, I'm sorry, we have 4 5-week-old puppies, 2 boys, 2 girls. That's Mama Dog and the puppies. When we come back from our ride, we're actually going to go over and mess with the pups a little bit. You cannot take one of the puppies. I actually, like I said, there's 4. I've been practicing counting to 4 all day, so I know if there's 4 still in there when you guys get on the helicopter. I'm going to shake down your camera case, you know. If I took us to the puppies right now, it would be hard to get away from the puppies. surgeries to put me back together again. I was in physical therapy for 3.5 years, and I wasn't sure if I was actually going to be able to walk again, normally, you know what I mean? I had already run dogs for 15 years. My first dog actually came from Crested Butte, Colorado, and I ran dogs out there for a couple of years. And then I moved back to the Adirondack, that's where I was from, where I started to raise my son, and I ran dogs up there. Now, that's the coldest part of the lower 48. We do see 20 and 30 below weather out there regularly. However, if you're going to work with long distance dogs, Alaska is the place to come. I vowed while I was going through physical therapy, okay, so I'm an outdoorsman, okay, I hunt and fish. The first thing the insurance company did to me was they sent me, what did they call it? An occupational rehabilitation specialist. They tried to talk me into going to work with computers. Now, I understand that some people are really great with it, right?
Yeah.
I had never worked with a computer in my entire life. It's like, so I worked in a commercial cabinet shop before my accident for 2 years, making high-end furniture, some of the nicest pieces in the country. Even though it was an awesome opportunity, I learned so much. For those 2 years, I looked out the window every day like a 4th grader daydreaming. And I said, please, if it was raining out, it's like, I love rain outside. If it was snowing, it's like, get me out of here, I love snow. Sunny, I love sunny weather. Get me out, you know. So I vowed, it's like, if I came through that intact, I'm going to do what I want to do. Now, I'm happily married. My wife's a college professor. She says, Peter, go to Alaska, work with dogs. And we actually have this long-distance deal worked out. She's a very independent lady. It works out well for us, you know. But I just, I've been captivated by these dogs since I was a little kid. You know, I'm just blessed that I am able to do this all year up here. Well, it's the second time around for both of us, right? So we both went through a divorce, and we've been happily remarried for 15 years. And, you know, we know when it's good, right? And even from 5,000 miles away, it's like that. So, internet books? Oh, no. Actually, there's 3 places we can go to make a cell phone call or use the internet. There's a mountain right in front of us here. If we climb that mountain and get up on the top, I can pick up a 3G signal and I can make a cell phone call. I actually did that 4 nights ago, and I talked to my wife. Now, it was a 4-hour time difference. I called her at 2:30 in the morning. For some bizarre reason, she was actually awake. I think she was waiting for the call, you know. I talked to her for about 2 hours up there. And also, there's another mountain over here, a pass. We can pick up a signal there. And actually, where you guys flew through, if we climb over that and look towards Girdwood, you can actually pick up a signal there too. So, but we have to work for it a little bit.
How do you do that? The snowmobile?
Well, we'll actually take a snow machine as high as we can get it, and then we'll walk the rest of the way. Like I said, we're kind of adventuresome up here. So. Now, follow me over here. There's 3 of you, okay? Our sled holds 2 people plus the musher. When we have 3 folks, we actually tie on a trailing sled right here. You guys get to ride on it. I'll show you how that's done. Do not worry, for I have had children from 4 to 80 on this thing, and it's actually a lot of fun. No one is glued into their seat. I strongly suggest, if you guys want, to actually trade places together. They're all different. So, anyway. We call this has 3 names. It's a whip sled, a tag sled, or a trailing sled, okay? And I'm actually going to tie this right to my sled with this green rope right here. is actually a mid-distance racing sled. I said we have to qualify for the Iditarod, and we have 200 or 300 mile races. That's what this sled is designed for. If it was an actual 1,000-mile sled, it'd be slightly longer to carry more supplies. It'd be a little heavier constructed. So this sled weighs about 35 pounds, not including my brake assembly here. Have you ever skied at all?
Yeah.
Okay, actually both of our sleds kind of function like a set of skis. If I want the sled to track to the right, I'm actually going to weight my right runner. I'm going to put most of the weight on this leg. And I'm going to take my driving bow and I'm going to force it to the right. It's going to tip my runners up on edge, much like you're carving a turn with a pair of skis, okay? So it's not going to make sharp right and left-hand turns. My dogs do that. However, say our trail is tilting this way, and I want to keep my sled to the high side of the trail. Now gravity tends to pull me downhill anyways. I'm going to try to stay as high on the trail as I can. I'm going to weight the uphill ski and take my driving bow and push it to that uphill side. It's going to help keep the sled's going to keep kind of skitching uphill like that. You'll actually get to see how it works really on this sled a lot too. So anyway, our dogs have high initial startup torque. They go from 0 to 10,000 miles an hour in about 1/16 of a second, okay? They accelerate like a bat out of hell, so to speak. On the whip sled, your job is to keep this green line tight at all times. Do not run over the musher. Do not run over your parents, okay? So that's best accomplished by putting your foot on a drag mat here, okay? Now, like I said, we're going to take off really fast to start. Once we're out there, the dogs settle into a nice working rhythm. They're actually trained to run at 10 miles an hour, okay? So you're going to want your foot on the drag mat as we're leaving the chute. On the flat, or if it's an uphill section, you can actually get your foot off the drag mat and put it on the runner here, okay? Now, if you feel that green rope going slack, put on a little more brake, okay? Like I said, you're going to want it as we leave the chute. We're going to make a turn and we're going to go downhill. You're going to want to put a little bit of drag mat on there. And you're definitely going to want to do it as we come back in.
Huh?
Are you coming?
That's what
Oh,
I'm
you
wondering.
have
If you just two of you want to go. So.
No, you have to go.
You have to go.
So I'm not leaving you here. No, like I said, the dog, they got excited by my voice. Right? Once we're out on the trail, the dogs settle in. It's really a lot of fun. It's actually, it is the iconic Alaskan experience. You're up here. You have to go. That's, so says your musher. So anyways, that's the whip sled, okay? Especially just put brake on as we're coming in here. That way when I stop, you don't go whizzing past me. Like I said, you guys should all try it because it's a lot of fun.